Hey, it's been a minute. I hope you're doing well. Let's dive into Procreate and finally color this drawing. So over the past couple weeks, really since my last video, I've been super busy with stuff. We had a family member and a couple very close friends of ours get married, so there really wasn't a lot of time for me to make these videos, and initially it was really stressing me out. I was asking myself these questions like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make videos? How am I going to work on the comic? When there was pretty much no time to do any of that. And I ended up coming to the decision of, screw it, I'm just going to take a break. Now, I haven't taken a break from making art really all year, and lately, being honest, I have been super burnt out. And I've touched on burnout in the past, multiple times, like kind of offhand or occasionally. But I really want to dive into the other half of burnout today, which is rest, how you fix burnout. When you do take a break at the proper time, you often learn things both about yourself and your artwork. So I really wanted to dive into the top 5 things I learned and the perspectives I gained during this little 2-week break. Some of these relate to me and my art style specifically. Others relate to the artistic journey as a whole, but hopefully regardless, they help you in some way. And in the background here, I'm kind of doing my usual color process. If you want to know more about that, I have a video linked on screen somewhere you can go check out. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get into these things I learned. And the first thing, which is kind of a repeating thing I've said before, but it's kind of a thing I need to constantly remind myself of, is do your art at your own pace, or make my art at my own pace. This is probably all these tips are very important, but this and probably the last one are probably the most important ones. You will do your best work if you're working at your own pace, kind of doing your own thing, not really letting things like social media or other people's opinions or whatever it may be influence the speed and precision of how you work. Oftentimes I feel social media and even outside pressures like other people, family maybe, can make you work faster or work maybe even too slow for some of you. For me, it makes me work faster and less precise. So it's really important for me, and I think it's important for you too, to kind of make sure you slow down and are really working within yourself, so to speak. The next thing is for my comic style. I really realized, and in this drawing specifically is where I kind of found it out and decided to try it for the first time, is I want to rely less on blending modes, mainly for environment lighting and the overall scene lighting. I'm still going to use blending modes like for shadows and the cell shading kind of faded style I do with kind of a watercolory brush, because multiply layers are super useful and color dodge layers are great for adding glows and highlights. Same with hard light layers. I'm going to use them, I think, the TLDR of this is I'm going to use those layers, I think, a bit more precisely. I think before I was kind of just throwing them everywhere because it was an easy fix, so to speak. But I really want to kind of lean into color theory a little bit more and cohesiveness, and I think it's something I should have been doing for a while, and I didn't really realize I needed to be doing it until I got to this break and really thought about my art style in general. I find that relying too much on these blending modes can really make your images look a little bit amateur and kind of like a glowy mess, instead of really relying on knowledge of color and making sure everything's cohesive and knowing how all that works. So yeah, I really just want to kind of dial things back and strip things away, and that kind of goes into my next thing, which is less is more. I think when you're developing your art style early on, you're really adding and making, you're adding a lot, really trying different things. What if I put, this art style together with this one, or, mix some of your favorite artists' art styles into yours and just kind of slapping things together and just seeing what works. And once you get to kind of where I feel I'm at, you kind of realize, no, you're glad you got there, you're glad you have an art style, right? But at that point, you know how you draw, at least naturally, or how you want to draw naturally. So at that point, it's time to strip things back and strip things away and really work to make it your own and just refine things, I guess. So I think I'm really in a season of refinement now, and yeah, just really taking all those inspirations that I have, that inspired my art style, and taking out the ones that maybe don't match as much now, and maybe putting some others in if they need to, but just just in a constant state of refinement. And also, it's better to do quality work than quantity. Some art styles dictate themselves more to speed, right? And others, you really have to take your time with. So, when you're developing your art style, kind of just knowing what you're getting into. And the art style video, by the way, is still coming. It's just such a big topic that I really want to do it justice. So I've been, writing and thinking about how to tackle that. So, subscribe, I guess, if you want to see that in the future. But I don't know when it's coming, but it is coming. Next thing going off of that is don't take yourself too seriously. It's very easy to get wrapped into yourself, kind of, and not really in a way of like, thinking you're a big shot or anything like that, but just thinking that every little thing you do matters. And the reality of it is it doesn't, like you are in a good way, like a small fish in a big pond. And, people are looking at you, like obviously you're watching this video, but no one's looking at you the way you're looking at yourself, right? You're always going to be more critical of yourself, at least most of the time. I am than others will be. So, just it's important to remember that and not to get wrapped up in your own ego, kind of. And again, I don't mean that in like a I think I'm the best kind of a way, but more just thinking you're more important than you are. And the last thing is just trust the process. Again, like the first tip, this is a repeating, thing that I think artists in general have to kind of remind themselves of. It kind of just ties everything in, I think, and the artistic journey in general. Like you just kind of want to do your thing. Don't really worry about it. Don't really worry about the future. If you need to make money, obviously worry about that. But if you're like, for me, I have a stable job and I do this kind of on the side, and hopefully in the future want to do this full time. But in the meantime, like I'm okay, and you're probably okay, hopefully. So just do your thing, take your time, and it'll all turn out how it's supposed to in the end. So. But yeah, thanks for hanging, guys. I hope you enjoyed the color process in the background and the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. If you want to check out my comic, it's ongoing and you can kind of watch it as it is made over on Webtoon. There's a link to that below. Otherwise, I'll see you when I see you.